This book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Shalom, shalom, Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwarash. All right. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and salutations unto the elect on the Bela Gabar Allah, coming at you with another lesson, man. And today's lesson is pretty much going to be based off what you see before you, this article that you see before you, man. Pretty much saying that an 11th grader was detained by ICE. Okay, so in horrendous conditions, man. So this is gonna be pretty much just a little bit of an eye opener of what we're gonna have to deal with in the last days, man. We're gonna have to be as pilgrims on the earth, and some of us are gonna be captured into these FEMA camps that are gonna be held out for Jake. These FEMA camps that are gonna be held out for Jake, and these are through our own, fault, I will say, because we ultimately turned against the Lord Yahweh and we went off. If we had never went off, we would have never had to deal with this, But, in them last days, because we're repenting, because we're going to repent, we're going to have to be as pilgrims upon the earth. That's why I opened up with 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 40. It says, O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle. And in those days, and in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Okay, and what does a pilgrim do? Okay, a pilgrim doesn't have a steady stay home. Okay, a pilgrim will go from one place to another, to another, to another. They don't have a stable house, and that's how we're going to have to be. There's been multiple visions of brothers running. Okay, brothers traveling, brothers, running and being as pilgrims upon the earth. Okay, and a quick little testimony. I had a vision, a while ago. It was a while ago. It was a spiritual vision. But pretty much, I was running from this thing, man. I couldn't catch a break. And I kept on running and running and running. I didn't have a stable home. I didn't have anywhere, to really rest. Okay. And I remember going into this bar or whatever. It was like a bar. It was something, and then the thing ended up chasing me in there. And wherever it was, dead bodies would be behind it. Wherever it was a dark entity. It wasn't really people. It was like dark entity. And wherever they went, there would just be dead bodies, whoever encountered it. So ultimately, the Lord Yahweh ended up having mercy upon me, and pretty much just looked up to the sky, and I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna get out of this? And I seen these 7 or so meteors coming down, and I thought there's just some meteors. I don't really think nothing of it, man. But lo and behold, they wasn't meteors, man. There was 7 different brothers with spiritual power. And they had came and they fucked shit up, bro. They fucked shit up. But anyways, that's besides the point. The point is, you're going to have faith in this thing, man. And you're going to have to be as pilgrims upon the earth. And that's just something that is going to have to happen. Okay? This is not something that you can just escape. Some brothers are going to be in them FEMA camps. Some brothers are going to be running. Some brothers are going to be decapitated. Some brothers are going to be, brothers are going to be everywhere, But anyway, let me get into this article. It says, lawyer details horrendous conditions faced by 11th grader detained by ICE. This kid has been sleeping on a cement floor for 5 days. No access to a shower. He's brushed his teeth twice, said Marcelo Gomez, da Silva's immigrant attorney. It said Milford, Massachusetts sleeping on a cement floor in a windowless room, only brushing your teeth twice in 5 days, and never getting to shower, being mocked by a guard. These among the these are among the horrendous conditions that Massachusetts high school junior Marcelo Gomez da Silva endured while being held by immigration and custom enforcement, according to his lawyer Robin Nice. Gomez da Silva, 18, was arrested by ICE agents on May 31st when he was stopped on his way to volleyball practice with his friends in his hometown of Milford. Federal officers said that they targeted da Silva's father, Joao Paulo Gomes Pereira, who they say is an undocumented immigrant from Brazil. But they detained Gomez da Silva, who came to the United States at the age of 7 with his parents when they realized he had overstayed his visa. So, they were looking for his father, okay, who's an immigrant from Brazil, and they ended up getting him because they saw that he overstayed his visa. So these fucking devils, they don't care about you, man. They don't care about, and this is conditions now with him just being an immigrant, not even just being a Jake in the know. He's just an immigrant, okay. Okay, how much worse is it gonna be in Jacob's trouble? What conditions are there gonna be in Jacob's trouble? All right, we're gonna have to be as pilgrims upon the earth, man. Not having a steady stay home. Okay. But let me read on in 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. I want to bug out, man. 16. Salakiakim. It says, verse 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth, as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. Right. So we're gonna be as if we have nothing. Okay, you're not gonna have you're not gonna have anything. You're not gonna have your house. You're not gonna have nothing. All right, you're gonna be on your own. You're gonna be on your faith with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay, you're gonna be running from place to place. Okay, but the scriptures speak about that. Look. All right. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. All right. And I'm going to start at verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that power shall bring upon it. Call Yahweh Shem Shai to 11:44. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful consolation. Woe to the world and to them that dwell therein. Right, that's why the scriptures tell us to not be of this world. Okay, because ultimately the Lord is going to put fire and hail and brimstone on this earth. Okay, and if you're going to be like Lot's life and you're going to look back, all right, you can't look back in this ministry. Scriptures talk about, putting your hand in the plow. You can't put your hand back in once you take it out, So once you have this ministry, you have to do everything in your power to stay in the ministry. It says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and the sword in their hands. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. Okay. And they're going to have bounties on. You have to be a visionary in order to see all this. Okay. You have to understand, okay, we're going to be having bounties on our heads. All right. They're going to have you fucking $5-10 million just to capture you dead or alive. You know, they just want to see you. You know, it says, and here's the point: a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? Because the cities are going to be closed, everything's going to be troubled, man. It says, for because their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right. Okay. Right. The legs are gonna be it's like the houses are gonna be destroyed, and men are gonna be afraid, man, because it's gonna be the worst time in history. Okay. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right. People are not gonna care no more, man. You know, people are not gonna care no more. People are going to do whatever the hell they want to do, and people are going to show their true nature. Okay, this wicked ass society, those people who you call your friends, those people who you call your family, everybody's going to turn on each other. Okay, the scriptures say a man's foes will be of that as in his old household. Okay, roughly paraphrasing, man. So, you know, I ended it abruptly, but you know, just a quick video to let brothers know, you know, hey, you know, this time is coming, man. Horrible conditions now. It's going to be even worse. All right. So Lord willing was edifying. Lord willing was uplifting. You know, Lord willing and open your eyes on how bad it really is going to be, man. So Lord willing was edifying. You know, double honor to that was an apostle.